Welcome to Ohrid, the hidden gems of the Balkans.
A city where medieval churches and fortresses stand above one of the oldest lakes in Europe. Located in the southwest of North Macedonia, Ohrid is one of the oldest settlements in Europe and one of the few places in the world protected by UNESCO for both its cultural as well as its natural significance. And despite all of that, Ohrid still feels surprisingly overlooked. That's why in this video we're exploring the very best places in and around Ohrid, including historic landmarks, local food, and some incredible hidden corners along the lake. And there's no better place to begin than right here at Saint John Kaneo's church. Perched above the shores of Lake Ohrid, Saint John Kaneo Church is easily the city's most iconic landmark and also the most photographed spot, not just in Ohrid, but in all of North Macedonia. The church itself dates back to the 13th century and is dedicated to Saint John the Theologian, even though it is not known who commissioned its construction. But what really makes this place special is its setting. Overlooking one of Europe's oldest and deepest lakes, the combination of history and nature and the quiet atmosphere make it one of the most memorable places in the city. But Ohrid's history stretches far beyond its churches and lakeside views. Watching over the city from above is one of its most important landmarks, Samuel's Fortress.
We are now at one of the most important sites in the city, Samuel's Fortress. It was built in the 11th century when the First Bulgarian Empire was about to collapse, but a person named Samuel took over the throne, made Ohrid the new capital of the empire, and built this fortress to defend it.
Today, the fortress offers some of the best views anywhere in Ohrid, overlooking both the old town and Lake Ohrid. The site has been heavily renovated over the years, but archaeological findings suggest that fortifications here are even older and already existed during the time of Philip II of Macedon, the father of the famous Alexander the Great. Entry to the fortress currently costs around 150 dinars, and it's definitely worth visiting for both the history and the view alone. And just below the fortress lies another place deeply connected to Ohrid's cultural and religious importance, the Church of Saint Kliment at Plaošnik.
So right behind me we have the beautiful Saint Naum Monastery. And did you know that right here the Cyrillic alphabet was invented in the 9th century? Most people think that Saint Cyril and Method invented the Cyrillic alphabet, but that is not true. Saint Kliment, who was their disciple, invented it after their death and named it in honor of his master in the 9th century.
Saint Kliment himself is buried here and remains one of the most important saints in the Slavic world. The site was once home to what is often considered the first Slavic university, where theology, language and religious education were taught to thousands of students. Together with the surrounding Plaošnik archaeological area, this remains one of the most historically significant places in Ohrid. Entry also costs around 150 dinars. One of the best things to do in Ohrid is simply getting lost in the old town. Walking through its narrow streets, it's easy to see how different civilizations shaped the city over the centuries. And, despite being one of the most visited places in North Macedonia, most parts of Ohrid still feel surprisingly calm and authentic.
So right behind me we have the ancient theater. What's special about it is that it is the only ancient theater that's dating back to the Hellenistic period in the whole country.
Today the Amphitheater is still sometimes used for concerts. Saint Kaneo and Saint Kliment Church are by far not the only historic churches in Ohrid that you have to see. The Church of Peribleptos, also known as Saint Kliment Church, dates back to the 13th century and is especially known for its impressive Byzantine frescoes. At its height, Ohrid was said to have 365 churches, one for every day of the year, earning it the nickname the Jerusalem of the Balkans. Entry here also costs around 150 dinars. Another important landmark is the Church of Saint Sophia, one of the most significant medieval churches in North Macedonia. Built between the 10th and 11th centuries, it originally served as the cathedral church of Ohrid. During the Ottoman rule, the church was converted into a mosque, and many of its painted frescoes were covered with plaster. Ironically, however, this ended up preserving much of the original artwork for centuries underneath. Today, the Saint Sophia Church remains one of the Ohrid's most important historic monuments, with entry costing around 150 dinars. But beyond the churches and historic landmarks, Lake Ohrid itself is what truly defines the atmosphere of the city. As one of Europe's oldest and deepest lakes, it's the heart of daily life here. Whether that's people relaxing along the promenade, taking boat trips, or simply enjoying the view. And apparently not only humans enjoy swimming in the lake. Even the local dogs seem to love it. Walking further through Ohrid, the atmosphere slowly begins to change. The Old Bazaar reflects the city's Ottoman past, with narrow streets, small shops, cafes, and a very different architectural style compared to the upper Old Town. Even today, it remains one of the liveliest parts of Ohrid. And during the summer months, the city becomes even more vibrant with concerts, performances, and cultural festivals. During my previous visit in 2023, traditional folk groups across the Balkans, including North Macedonia, Serbia, Montenegro, and Bulgaria, performed here in the streets of Ohrid. One of the most recognizable landmarks in the bazaar area is the Ali Pasha Mosque. Originally built in the 16th century during Ottoman rule, the mosque remains an important reminder of Ohrid's multicultural history. Entry is free, and the area around it is especially atmospheric in the evening, as the sun sets and the lights begin to reflect across the old town. This part of Ohrid feels completely different once again. No visit to Ohrid would be complete without trying some of the local food. One of the most well-known local specialties is Ohrid trout, traditionally caught in the lake itself. We tried it here at Momir, a restaurant right by the water, with fantastic views over Lake Ohrid. Together with a classic shopska salad, it's probably one of the most traditional meals you can have in the region. Back in the Old Bazaar area, we stopped at another local restaurant called Gostilnica Naum. Here we tried more Balkan classics like pljeskavica together with shopska salad and a local shopsko beer. Like much of Ohrid itself, the food here reflects a mix of influences from across the Balkans. And for something even more local, we ended up at a small grill restaurant recommended to us by a local. At Kebabchilnica Vkusno, we tried kebabche, grilled minced meat similar to cevapi, which is popular across most of the Balkans. For our stay in Ohrid, we chose a quieter local neighborhood slightly outside the busy center. Damian Apartments offered a more relaxed atmosphere while still being close enough to reach the old town as well as the lakefront within minutes. Ohrid's highlights don't end with the city itself. Some of the region's most fascinating places are located just outside the old town. About 20 minutes outside of the city lies the Bay of Bones Museum, a reconstructed prehistoric settlement built above the lake.
So just a little bit outside the city we have the Bay of Bones, which is a beautifully recreated museum that shows you how people here in the area lived during the Iron Age. So let's explore it.
The original settlement dates back thousands of years and gives a glimpse into how people once lived directly on the water. And with the surrounding mountain and lake views, it's also one of the most scenic spots around Ohrid. And finally, we arrive at what is probably the most famous monastery in all of North Macedonia, the Saint Naum Monastery.
The final place that I really want to show you is the Saint Naum Monastery. Built in the 11th century by Naum, who was a disciple of Cyril and Method, it is one of the most beautiful monasteries in the area, and it is right at the border with Albania. And according to local legend, if you go inside the monastery, you can still hear the heartbeat of Saint Naum as he is buried inside the monastery.
So if you want to see if the local legend is actually true, head inside. Just be aware that if you want to see the church from the inside, you do have to pay an entry fee of around 100 denar. What makes the monastery really unique is not only its history, but also its beautiful location. Surrounded by mountains and crystal clear water, this is easily one of the most beautiful places anywhere around Lake Ohrid. And walking through the monastery grounds, you'll even spot free roaming peacocks wandering around the complex. Nearby, the Ostrovo restaurant sits right next to the spring where the Black Drin River begins its journey. From here, visitors can also take small boat tours through the springs, one of the most unique experiences in the region. Located just a few kilometers from the Albanian border, Saint Naum feels like the perfect final stop before leaving Ohrid behind.
So if you enjoyed this guide to Ohrid, then please don't forget to subscribe. And as always, don't forget, never stop exploring.